Page 87, swinging. On page 86, they're introducing you to different types of triads. Remember, a triad is a 3-note chord. We've been using them a lot. Well, things just got hairy. To me, this is something rare. There are a number of videos on YouTube that teach this kind of stuff. I would encourage you to go watch them. I don't get into this too much, but they're covering it in the book, so I'll talk about it a little bit. Major triad, simply defined, is a major third and a minor third stacked on each other. Remember what a major and minor thirds are? You got 4 half steps and 3 half steps. So let's use the key of C, and we're going to take a C chord. This is a triad. Well, if I go C, 1 half step, 2, 3, 4, that's a major third. And if I go from here and I go 3 half steps, it's 1, 2, 3. It's a minor third. So that triad is a major third and a minor third stacked on each other. That's the definition of a major triad. You can go anywhere on the keyboard as long as you take a major third and then a minor third. It is a major triad. A minor triad is the other way around. It's a minor third and a major third stacked on each other. It's easy to remember. You just take the major triad and you take the middle note and lower it 1. That's a minor triad. It's a minor chord. That's how I recommend you remember. If you know what a major is, just lower the middle note by half a step. The augment means to increase. So an augmented triad is 2 major thirds stacked on each other. So if I take the major triad, which is a major and minor third, and I increase the minor third to a major third, I just add that's an augmented triad. Sounds weird, but it's used. And that is what an augmented triad is. Now, a diminished triad, used a lot in minor keys, scale, are 2 minor thirds added on each other, right? 2 minor thirds. So if I take 3 half steps apart, so I start on the C, I go 3 half steps up, 1, 2, 3, that's a minor third. If I start here and go another 3 half steps up, 1, 2, 3, that's a minor third. So the thing together is a diminished triad. Diminished means to lower it down. And those are the 4 different types of triads you can have. There are no others to speak of. Just learn those and you got it made. Don't know when you're going to use them for sure, but if you're getting into jazz and improvising this stuff, they really come in handy. Now they show you triads built on a major scale, and we already went through this because you can build a chord on each step of the scale. Well, you got major, minor, and diminished, diminished in there. So it starts with a major third, a major triad. Then when you go to the second scale, that is a minor triad because you have a minor third and a major third. You have another minor triad, and a major triad, another major, minor triad, and the 7th step is a diminished triad because it's 2 minor thirds on each other. Let's go over to page 87 and talk about arpeggios. You know what a broken chord is. It's different patterns for broken chords, but one of the main ones used is when you simply start with the bottom note and you play each note in the chord 1 note at a time. At the beginning of this, they're showing this is in the key of B flat. They're showing you the B flat chord 1 note at a time. In a sense, that's an arpeggiated chord. We'd call that arpeggiated because it's 1 note at a time. And it either starts at the bottom note and goes up, or it starts at the top note and goes down. Well, we can go beyond just the triad because look what they've done. They've done here in the right hand, they go 2, 1, 2, 4. They continue these B flat, D, F on up. B flat, D, F, B flat. These are the chords. And if you roll it, you got that. It's an arpeggiated chord. Don't like the fingering. I would recommend in the right hand on that first measure that you don't need that. Can if you want to, but I recommend just a 1, 2, 3, 1. That's a standard fingering for that chord, so why not use it? So you have Third measure over, look at that. You have a here. Isn't that fun? That's an augmented thing. It sounds weird, that's what it is. Second line, you have this. I recommend on right hand, it's a 1, 2, 4, 5. That's the standard fingering there. Just use it. Third line down, you have this. Now the left hand gets the 4 notes. On the left hand, I recommend a 1, 2, 4, 5. Standard fingering, just use it. Still an arpeggiated chord, you just now you started at the top and went down. Third line, third measure over. You got here. Again, the left hand, 1, 2, 4, 5. Just use that. That's that augmented chord again. You know what. Last line, first measure. Left hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last measure, 5. Again, 1, 2, 4, 5. What I recommend on these. You don't need to be crossing over the thumb like that. There will be times when you will need to, and if you want to do it that way so you get some practice at it, that's fine. But this is, if you play it right, this is a fast piece. It says allegro. That's fast. I don't know how fast that is. 1, 2, 1. But if that's the case, then I would finger it the way I suggested to you, because that gets tricky. The other chords where it's not arpeggiated or is not broken, you're playing block chords, you're playing all the notes at the same time. Let's look at those. At the top, first line, second measure in the right hand, you have these. You're playing that B flat chord in different inversions. We covered inversions before. If you forgot about them, go watch that video, go back and do that again. Their fingering is fine. The last measure on the first line, same thing. You're here, here, here. You get a feel for these patterns, where these keys are and how they fit together. So you get a feel for that chord. Then you go to the next chord, it's here. Well, you just got to practice those going back and forth to get a feel of that, and then you do the next one and practice that. You get a feel of how these go. It's so much easier if you do. Eventually, you'll learn to do it without looking at the keyboard. You can feel where they are. Second line, second measure. They're saying 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, 1, 3, 5. And then for the next one, it's 1, 2, 4. That's fine. Just follow their fingering here. It's fine. The last chord in the second line is a 1, 2, 4. I don't tell you that, but it is. Take my word for it. Last line next to the last measure in the right hand, you have a half note B flat. Gotta hold it down for 2 counts, so hold it while you're playing that, and then another one. Make sure you hold that down, and then here. Left hand, you don't get any real block chords until you get third line down, second measure. Look at that. You have this B flat chord. 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1, 5, 2, 1. That's fine. Again, you just got to practice a feel for these. Third line down, last measure. You have this one. Here. 5, 3, 1 there. And here. Do 5, 3, 1 on each of those. Last line, second measure, 5, 2, 1. They're saying a 4, 2, 1. It's okay if you want. And then a 5, 3, 1. It's not the only fingering you can use on these, but let's go with what they. Then in the next measure, it's a 5, 2, 1. And then a 5, 3, 1. They don't tell you, but it is. Take my word for it. And then I already told you the fingering at the end. Now with the pedal, just follow me real closely on this. Most of it's going to be pedaled like at the beginning. So what I'm going to do Then we'll play the first note and then push the pedal down. I'll play the whole measure, and then when I play the first note in the next measure, I'm going to lift the pedal up and put it right back down. I'm going to do that at each pedal change, and in this case it's each measure. I'll push the note down first and then lift the pedal up and put it down. That's fine, no big deal, till you get to the second line and the last two measures. Now this is going, and what I'm recommending here, because it gets a little tricky with this kind of pedal indication. What I'm recommending you do is you change the pedal, and by changing the pedal I mean you lift it up and put it back down. Do it with each chord, or right after you play the chord in the right hand. So it's the right hand by itself. I'm going to play the half note chord and then push the pedal down. I'm going to play the next chord and lift the pedal up and push it down. Next chord, next chord. And then when I play the first note in the next measure or the next line, then I'll again lift the pedal up and put it right back down, etc. And that's how I recommend you do that. Then in the last line, again, we have the last two measures. This time the chord's in the left hand, so follow the left hand chords. You're going to play the chord first and then change the pedal, and then play the second half note chord and change the pedal, and then when you play the first note in the last measure, change the pedal, etc. And that's how I recommend we do the pedaling. Then at the end, the pedal is down, you have played the half note in the left hand, you'll lift the left hand up and the pedal up at the same time. That's about all I had to say about that. Now remember those triplets we had a long time ago, where one enda, two enda, or triplet, where you're playing three notes and a beat instead of just 2/8 notes? That's all over here. First measure, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So that's the counting. That's the only tricky part of it. Let's play this together really, really, really slow. Now this is supposed to be a fast piece. It's allegro, but we're going to go really, really slow. I put the metronome on 50. It's beating quarter notes. So at the beginning it's 1 and 2 and 3, 4, etc. So I'm going to give us 4 counts. Let's play this together. Hands. Alright, foot's on the pedal. Here we go. 1, 2, ready and go and I don't want to play the whole thing, but to give you, I mean, you just play it like that, you just speed it up is all it is.